This hospital actually did an MRI scan on a silicone doll, and surprisingly, they found a tumor inside the doll. Then, what happened next was even more unexpected. They brought the doll to the operating room to remove the tumor. They even used professional surgical instruments to perform surgery on the doll. The reason the doctors went through all this trouble was all because of the man in front of them. Just 2 days ago, the man went on a date with his crush. As the atmosphere grew more intimate, the crush confessed her feelings. But unexpectedly, the man rejected her. He said he already had a girlfriend. After hearing this, the crush was about to leave in frustration, but she noticed the man's eyes were bleeding. Soon, the man was rushed to the hospital. House and his team analyzed the situation, and they suspected that the man might have a blood clot in his brain, causing increased intracranial pressure, which could explain the eye bleeding symptoms. So House instructed his assistant to perform a cerebral angiogram on the man. But just as they were about to take him for the examination, the crush suggested notifying his girlfriend. However, the man immediately refused her suggestion. That's when the doctors realized the two of them were not in a relationship, then suggested that it would be better to inform the girlfriend. But the man still disagreed. Though his actions left the doctors puzzled, they didn't think much of it and pushed the man towards the examination room. The test results came out quickly. There was no blood clot in the man's brain, but his strange behavior made them suspect that he might have a delusional disorder, that he had imagined a girlfriend, and since it was just a fantasy, he couldn't have her accompany him. So House instructed his assistant to search the man's home. The assistants quickly arrived at the man's place. After searching the living room, they found nothing unusual. However, just as they were about to enter the bedroom, they discovered a woman lying on the bed.
I don't think she's breathing. You think she OD'd?
How did they kill her? Pulse?
No.
Call the coroner.
I don't think that's going to be necessary.
So, you don't have sex with her?
More attracted to dolls than humans.
Does the doll talk to you?
I'm not a pervert. I know she's not a real person. In a lot of ways, she's better than a person. I can tell her things and she won't argue with me or make fun of me. I come home every night and I know she'll be there waiting.
So's your toaster.
No one in the world has an emotional attachment to a toaster, but a lot of people are willing to spend $7,000 on women like Amy.
At that moment, the doctor noticed the man was sweating profusely and immediately touched his forehead, only to realize that he had developed a fever. Soon after, the doctors reported the situation to House, and everyone agreed that the man must be suffering from a mental illness. Otherwise, how could he possibly have a doll as his girlfriend? House then suggested an odd approach. He proposed that they run tests on the doll, suspecting that the man's condition might be caused by a bacterial infection, since the man slept with the doll every night, which could have allowed a lot of bacteria to grow on it. Just as they were about to begin testing the doll, during the sampling process, Chase suddenly felt something protruding inside the doll.
3-inch mass. Feels like a tumor.
To find out the cause, they decided to use an MRI, and the results came back quickly. They discovered a bubble inside the doll. They then informed the man of the findings, and after getting his consent, the doctors prepared to perform surgery on the doll to figure out what caused the bubble. After a thorough abdominal examination, it wasn't long before the doctors returned the doll. When the man saw his girlfriend back again, he immediately jumped out of bed, ready to welcome her return. After the doctors examined the doll, they concluded that the bubble was likely a result of the factory's manufacturing process, and they hadn't found anything abnormal inside the bubble. But the man didn't care about any of that. He noticed that not only had the doctors stitched up his girlfriend's wound, but they had also thoughtfully applied a bandage. Just as he was about to thank the doctors, he suddenly fell short of breath and collapsed to the floor.
It's nice having you here. I wish you could come over and get in bed with me.
At that moment, the silicone doll suddenly reacted. Then, under the man's surprised gaze, the doll started to undress, just as the man desired. It crawled directly onto his bed, and at that moment, the man suddenly noticed that the doll's stomach was starting to ooze blood. Seeing this, he began to mentally collapse. The doctor beside him noticed something was wrong, and quickly tried to restrain him, but after checking the man, it was discovered that he was showing signs of liver failure. This made House suspect it was caused by cirrhosis, so he instructed the assistant to use steroids for treatment. As the doctor injected the steroids into the man, during the conversation it was revealed that the doll was a custom-made one. The man had met a yoga instructor during a trip, and fell in love with her. After confessing his feelings at the right moment, he was harshly rejected, so he had the manufacturer create the doll. But before the man could finish his story, he suddenly started vomiting, and felt his neck stiffen. The doctor quickly started treatment. However, after a night of treatment, his condition continued to worsen. The situation was reported to House. At this point, Chase suddenly remembered that the man had once fallen in love with a yoga instructor. Could it be that during yoga practice, he had tried some alternative therapy? Chase also recalled that he had found a strange teapot in the man's house. At this point, House immediately had an idea. He quickly drew a long-spouted teapot on the whiteboard. Chase confirmed it after seeing the drawing. At this moment, House explained that it was an Indian neti pot. People use it during allergy season to rinse their nasal passages with distilled water. But clearly the man used tap water for cleaning, and tap water serves as a transport system for amoeba that can reach the cerebrospinal fluid. As long as the man is given metronidazole, all his symptoms will disappear.